And remember, what we do is only good if the patient complies. And they'll listen to you, they'll return, they'll refer, and they'll trust you when you connect with them. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD Podcast. Great episode for us today. This episode is the foundation of us being great, having tons of success. Have a new doctor starting. What am I going to teach him first? As a result, what do I feel is the most important aspect for a new associate entering your practice, for the foundation of being part of my culture? Listen, you'll find out. We have the closing thought of the episode. This is the Ultimate OD Podcast. Here we go. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD Podcast. Thank you for the likes, the listens. We're on to June. Holy cow. Halfway through the year, where are you at? What have you accomplished? Are you where you want to be? And if not, how are you going to get there? Been the focus of my past 6 months is where do I want to go? One of the weird realizations, I still love my RDAC dry eye clinic, everything that we're doing there, treating dry eye, awesome. But I found that when I see comprehensive exams, I can multitask a lot more. I can work on the business. I can think about other things. When I'm seeing a bunch of TFLs, dry eye evaluations, my focus is a higher level of exam, higher level of care. It takes a lot more out of me. I'm much more fatigued, tired, etc. So just something that I'm aware of as I try to grow and expand the business. It's going to be really hard to do a ton of RDAC and focus on growing the business. I think I'm going to find a happy balance, but I can't do 100% RDAC and be the best CEO of the practice. So just again, an observation I'm working through. And when I work through stuff, I talk to you guys about it because, well, talking about it helps me get better. That being said, we are, as an office, closing in on 1 million at 6 months. So hitting that goal of 2 million revenue, really exciting. New doctor starts June 1. Not seeing patients yet, but get them integrated. And that's part of the episode of what we're going to talk about today. So, again, as always, thanks for the likes, the listens, the emails. I do respond. I know I'm not always the fastest, but I will respond. I try to talk about it on the podcast so you get an answer, but I will give you a email back as well. That being said, let's get down to business. So, success follows excellence far more reliably than excellence follows success. All right, so think about this. Excellence is being, success is having. So success, having. Revenue, nice office, new doctors, growth. Success, right? Those are the things that we look at. Those are the fun things that we like to talk about at conferences. When I want street cred, revenue, office, doctors, growth. Those are the things I hit. They're what we kind of possess. Now, excellence is being disciplined, being consistent, present, prepared, being trustworthy. Excellence are the habits that form who you are. Pursuing excellence will lead to success. You can chase success, but you're more likely to miss both excellence and success if you're only going after success. You chase excellence, you're most likely going to be successful. Okay? The world sees success. We see success. I often say, I think I said in the last episode, if you don't want the life that gives you the outcome, change your desire, right? You can't just see the end result. What did it take to get there? And excellence is what happens when no one else is looking. Not when I'm at my P3 meetings talking to my other doctors. It's what I do on Sunday nights, Monday mornings, the monthly office meetings. Do I like having office meetings? Absolutely not. I'd rather not have to put that together. but I do every single month for pretty much as long as I've had an office. We've had office meetings. Okay, 15 years, monthly meetings. They're important, and I've gotten better at what I'm talking about, but really, my core values, my non negotiables, dry eye. Those are kind of the three things that I keep repeating over and over and over again. That's what makes us great. It's nothing flashy, it's the excellence that I'm pursuing. And what you'll find when you talk to students, people aspiring to start a business, they chase outcomes. That big picture vision that I talk about. You have to have a vision for where you want to go, and they're chasing that. But less people chase the identity, the habits. Think James Clear. All the little things that make you who you are, that get you to that end vision, we don't chase those little habits. I'm trying to get in better shape, work out, and be healthier, right? Well, the goal is to be healthier. Have that, see the CrossFitters out there, the high rocks athletes, where they are is what I want to be. I could just look at them and be like, yeah, I want that. But since I'm trying to chase the identity, how do they eat? How do they sleep? What's their training schedule look like? How many days a week are they running? How many days a week are they lifting? Etc. Same thing for business. Like I talk about athletics and I talk about business, they're the same thing, right? It's a disciplined behavior that will get you to that goal. And there's a bunch of little things. Whenever I really break down the business and see what has caused us to grow, what has caused us to be up 10, 15% year over year. And it's a bunch of little fundamental things. It has nothing to do with how big the goal. I shouldn't say that. It has a lot to do with the vision that I have. But I can't just look at the vision. It's meaningless if you're not going to do the things that get you there. So that's why I say pursue excellence and success tends to follow. Chase success alone and you're going to miss both success and excellence. Okay? Excellence is what we want. Identity. Who are we? Now that brings me to the next thing I want to kind of bring into this is that, do you guys know who Dan Sullivan is? He wrote a lot of books. One of them that I've read that I really like, I've talked about in the past, is The Gap in the Gain. Now, the gap is when you're looking at that end goal. It's the horizon. And no matter how far or fast you drive, you're never going to get to the horizon. It's always out there. Awesome. You want to be hungry, not complacent. But if you live in that gap, you're going to be frustrated, angry, wonder what the crap's happened. Why are you not getting there? You feel like a failure. The gain is when you turn around and look how far you come. Where you were at a year ago, 5 years ago, how much you've grown, how your identity has changed. And what I realize as a business owner, as the CEO of my practice, I feel it's our nature that we are always looking at what's missing. The next associate, my next location, what service do I have to hit? What revenue goal do I need to be at? Seriously, I'm thinking about that as we speak. I'm happy with where we're going, what we're going to do, but I'm worried that I'm getting complacent. What's my next big move? And the move is don't do anything stupid right now. Maximize the fruit of this tree, of this field, get the most out of it, and be strategic in your next move, not just making a move to make a move. And I can have that mindset because I take a step back every now and then and look at that gain, and the office is stronger. My systems are better. My team is stronger. Revenue is growing. And it's a bunch of consistent little behaviors that we've implemented that have given us our identity, who we are, consistent messaging. Right? I talk about basically 7 non-negotiables that we do as the office. I'll talk about that later. And the 5 things that make an office visit amazing. Those 5 things are real easy. Greet the patient. Doctor, greeting, when they walk in the room, greeting the patient. Ending the exam well, making sure the patient is well educated on what the doctor went over, and having a clean office. Do those 5 things, and the visit, the NPS score, acceptable. Not hard. Don't have to be an expert, don't have to be trained. Do those things. We have a couple other things in my office that we do that have really helped us grow. I'll talk about that, like I said, in the future. But it's little things that I've seen because I've taken a step back and looked at the gain. Now realize that gap is what creates ambition. The gain, when you look back, is where you get the gratitude. You get the confidence. You get the encouragement to keep moving forward. And then honestly, I think as the CEO of your practice, you need both. Because without the gap, you're going to get complacent. Without the gain, you're just living in a state of constant frustration. And I've read a lot of books the past, probably 3-4 months, and it's about successful people, and they're very introspective, autobiographies. Reading a ton of autobiographies. I love reading them and seeing parts of myself, parts of my business, etc. But the cool thing is, these successful people that have accomplished way more than I can ever imagine, multi-million-dollar businesses, incredible athletic accomplishments, success from an early young age, they're riding a roller coaster that I am as well. They have the same feelings, the same doubts. They're amazing, and they have a bad day, and they're like, have I lost it? Is it over? I know you've been there with me when you're doing really good and you have a bad week. Not even a bad day. And you're like, oh man, is the sky falling? Is it over? Bad month. Bad whatever, right? And you're like, am I really qualified to do this? I don't think that ever leaves you. I don't care how successful you are, there's that thought. And it's refreshing to know that people that have accomplished so much have got through that. They've got past that. But it's exactly what I'm talking about here. They're pursuing identity. The success has never been what's made them. They take a step back and they just focus on the little details. This next workout, this next day at the office, this next quarter. Not drowning themselves in frustration of thinking about where they should be, not where they are. Be present in the moment. And I think that's one of the cool things about successful people, successful CEOs, is they appreciate how far they've come while still staying hungry for what's next. And that's what we have to do. Now, let's bring this full circle and make it make real sense. Okay, that's a lot of philosophy and whatnot. How do I apply that to our day-to-day lives? I told you I have a new doctor starting June 1st. They started June 1st. You'll hear this after June 1st. And of all the things that I can teach him, I can train him. What do you think matters most? What am I going to focus on? I'm going to give you a checklist of things it's not going to be. Not going to be billing. Not going to be coding. Clinical pearls, specialty lenses, dry eye. Nope. Connection. 100% connection. My message to start off, the foundation of who we are, what we're going to do, those non-negotiables, those things you do, but connecting with the patient, connecting with the staff. I want the patient to be the focus of what we do. Amazing is when they leave the exam and they say that doctor is really good. Extraordinary is when they leave the exam and they feel heard, they feel understood, they feel valued. He has to walk in that room. He has to own that connection. Introduce himself. Make eye contact with the patient. In that first 60 seconds, just bring it in, dial it in. I told you before, when I worked the summer before I went to optometry school, I was a roofer, worked for a roofing company. And I drive around and I knock on doors, unsolicited, just knock on the door, say, hey, I think your roof needs an estimate. And when you knock on that door, you have 10 seconds to make a connection with that person. I do that every time I walk into the exam room. I want him to know that. And I want him to make sure he makes an effort to make that patient the center of attention, the focus of the exam. And Martin Carroll told me this back in my externship days, that it sounds really stupid, really simple, but does the patient actually like you? If the patient likes you, they trust you, they listen, they come back, they refer friends, you're a better doctor if they like you. Finding a way to make that connection and make that patient like you. That is my number one focus. He's a great doctor. There's a million great doctors that know so many things. There's very few doctors, very few people that can walk into the room and make everyone else in that room feel better about themselves. That's a charismatic, powerful person that you want to be around. That's what we need. And patients don't remember your diagnoses, your education. They don't remember so many things, but they know how you made them feel. And that is what matters. And remember, what we do is only good if the patient complies. And they'll listen to you, they'll return, they'll refer, and they'll trust you when you connect with them. Clinical excellence matters, but connection makes that clinical excellence work. It's the hands and feet. And the best doctors, the most successful people, are not always the smartest. Now, they're smart. Don't get me wrong. They can convey that knowledge, but they can convey it in such a way that a patient understands and it resonates with them. It gets them to take action. The best CEOs get their people to do more than they ever thought possible because they inspire. The same thing. Do you inspire your patients? Do you inspire your staff? Can you teach someone to do that? So, what am I talking about right here? That's the foundation of excellence. It's repetition, it's consistency. The thing I want you to know is that being present, listening, connecting are not flashy things that you want to do. You want the new IPL, you want the new RF, the OptiLift. You want that new office, the new associate, 5 doors, right? But the fundamentals matter. If you don't have the fundamentals, none of that other stuff comes. You have those fundamentals, the world is your oyster. You can make it happen. And that's true in athletics, in business, being the CEO. Leadership, communication, consistency. The more you grow, the more success that you have. The basics don't become less important because you've mastered them. They become more important. They become the foundation of what got you here and what you have to keep pounding into your staff, emphasizing with your patients. Those basic things are key. You can have all the skills and talents, but if you don't have that foundation, the discipline, the little habits, you're not going to be where you want to be. You're going to be chasing that horizon and be very, very frustrated because you're not getting to where you want to be. So remember, better execution of fundamentals isn't flashy, isn't revolutionary, but is what matters. Do you know your basics? What are your core values? What are your non-negotiables? How do your staff interact with each other? How do they interact with patients? How do your doctors, how do you make that patient feel heard, seen, and trust you like you? Best experience they've ever had because of how you made them feel about themselves, not how smart you were. So remember these things, my friends. Success is having things, excellence is becoming someone. Living in the gain is not a bad thing because it helps give you gratitude and appreciation for where you've come and the juice you need to keep chasing the gap. And think of who you want to be, who you want to become, what is your identity, and those fundamentals. What are the building blocks? How do you keep making that better? Polishing the rough edges and not making this about you. And I guess that's the big thing is like I'm training a new doctor, but this is the same thing that I'm applying to my staff. It's not about optometry. It's trust, communication, patience, excellence. And that's what we have to do as the leader of our business. Build people, build systems, build an environment that allows people to thrive, that lets outsiders come in and make them feel better about themselves. Success is something you achieve, but excellence is someone you become. Focus on becoming the right person, and success will have a way of showing up. Think about that. Apply it to your life, personally, professionally, those around you. But excellence is what you want. Chase that. We'll have more for you next week. Where, oh, where has the time gone? We are to the closing thought of the episode, and I'll leave you with this thought. A man wastes his life preparing for a future that was never promised, while the only life he truly owns passes quietly through his hands. Eek. Seneca said that. And I think that is very fitting for what I just talked about in this episode because it's about being present in the moment and being the best person that you can be right now, today, not tomorrow, not in the future, today. And you win enough days in a row, you're going to have a good year. Stack on those years, you have a good life. We look at a lot of big picture things. We like the flashy, big, fancy things that get people excited, tune into the podcast, but you really want to be successful. It's not flashy, not fancy. It's just hard work every single day. Being disciplined enough to keep having the same message, getting 1% better, and growing your business, growing yourself as a person. That's what I want for me. That's what I want for you. One more for you next week. Dr. Lily